My name's Gordon Johnson. I'm the Senior CFD Engineering at Subzero Engineering. I've been with the company now since 2011. As to my background, I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from New Jersey Institute of Technology. I've been involved in the industry for over 30 years. My goal for the industry, to get it as energy efficient and sustainable as possible. At Subzero Engineering, we really believe that a data-driven approach is the best thing towards driving data center performance and efficiency. And to help our customers, we provide customized, streamlined, energy-efficient containment. It's going to reduce total cost of ownership, and also it's going to reduce the carbon offset. We provide specific engineering services. No other containment company in the industry does some of the things that we do. It ensures customer satisfaction with every project we're involved in. On a day-to-day basis, I work with customers that are really interested in energy efficiency and reducing their carbon offset. We work with large hyperscale customers, customers that are involved with sports, retail, leaders in HPC, artificial intelligence. We work with customers that are still in the pre-design phase of their data centers. Basically, we work with anybody that wants to improve efficiency. And the reason we work so closely with these companies, it doesn't matter if they're large, small, if it's a new data center or a legacy data center, we want their data center to operate efficiently. We want them to be as sustainable as possible. CFD stands for Computational Fluid Dynamics. It's a vital data center program, and it really measures the customer's performance and efficiency. Now, how CFD modeling works, very interesting. It's an algorithm, and different industries use this software. For instance, there's such thing as aerodynamic CFD, building CFD to make sure that the occupants are comfortable temperature and airflow-wise. But we do something different at Subzero. We use CFD software that's specifically designed for data centers. We can model data centers to ensure 100% performance and efficiency after containment's installed. Benefits of using CFD software in the data center: it helps us really predict how the data center is going to operate after we're done designing it, or in a legacy data center after we've made the necessary changes. For those still in the design phase, CFD is very important. And we give an example. When we design a data center, we don't want too much air, we don't want too little air. If we have too much air, that's called bypass air. It's wasted air. We don't want to blow more air than you need. If we do, what we say is it costs money to blow air, and why waste it if it's not contributing to cooling the IT equipment? Now, same thing if we don't have enough air in the data center. That's called hot air recirculation. If you don't have enough air, it's going to cause overheating of the IT equipment. CFD software is going to predict or simulate what's going to happen in that legacy data center, or with that data center we're designing. It's going to make sure that when we're done, it's as energy efficient and as sustainable as possible. From a sustainability standpoint, what we want is to make sure our customers have the most efficient data center possible and the most sustainable one. And again, CFD modeling really helps us do this. I like to think of CFD modeling as an MRI for a data center. We can go in and really see what's happening on the inside of the data center, and we can do this without having to make the actual changes. It costs a lot of money to add cooling, and it costs a lot of money to replace servers that have overheated. How much better to do that MRI, that model or simulation ahead of time. We can really make sure that any change we're planning on making or any change we're planning on implementing is going to be the correct one for each individual data center. Subzero infrastructure instantly increases data center efficiency, mainly because at Subzero we have the lowest leakage factor of any containment on the market. Our containment is the best solution our customers can use to optimize two things. First, optimize your airflow. Second, optimize the temperature in your data center. And that's our goal. We want your data center have to first, like we mentioned, airflow optimization. So what do we mean by that? You don't want to have, say, twice as much air or 3 times as much air blowing in your data center. You only want about 10% more air than you actually need. That's airflow optimization. Now, because you have a little bit more air than you actually need, now we can do temperature optimization. And what we mean by that, we have positive pressure happening in our cold aisles. So we can walk into our cold aisle, we're going to go to the bottom of the rack, the middle of the rack, and the top of the rack that's been contained. And no matter where we go, we're not going to see any temperature change, maybe 1-2 degrees. Once we've done that, we've now nailed airflow and temperature optimization. Well, what does that mean? Well, we've reduced all that excess air blowing. That saves a lot of money. And even bigger, now, because we know the temperature everywhere in our data center, bottom, middle, top of our rack, now we can increase temperatures as high as possible without exceeding ASHRAE's thermal temperature guidelines for server inlets. In terms of what the future holds for the data center industry, we're going to have to continue to look for ways to improve efficiency. Now, I believe we're going to have to take a more holistic approach to cooling. For example, you're going to see more HPC data centers in the future look at different solutions, maybe air-assisted liquid cooling, or maybe close-coupled cooling to keep up with the high-density increase that server racks are experiencing today. For others, traditional air cooling is going to make the most sense in terms of what they can afford and also total cost of ownership. Moving forward, it's not going to be one size fits all for data center cooling, especially when we look at machine learning, AI type software, or high analytic bit mining taking place. These portions of the industry, well, that's really what's going to drive and push people to make the change to liquid cooling. But for the majority, air cooling is still going to make the most sense in the data center. So I think a real key phrase we're going to hear a lot of in the future is something called hybrid cooling. And what I mean by that, we're going to see a lot of solutions where the data center is going to be air-cooled and liquid-cooled. Again, it's not going to be one size fits all. We're going to coexist with each other, air cooling, liquid cooling, and we're going to share the same white space in the data center for many years to come. I'm extensively involved with research and data right now. And what I'm seeing in the industry is everybody's pushing to go as green as possible. Everyone's trying to reduce their carbon footprint and be sustainable. And that's the good news. But what we see also is companies had a 10-year plan. And they said, we're going to get carbon zero or really reduce our carbon offset in 10 years. Well, we're already 5 years, maybe later, into those plans, and some of those companies haven't done anything yet in order to reduce their carbon offset. So I think what you're going to really see accelerate in the next couple of years, we're going to do everything possible to get as greener as we can, and we're going to even start using, I think you're going to see a lot more recyclable products come into the data center, into the white space as well. I'm seeing a great need right now for software and consultancy services in the market. Today's economy is such, you can't afford to make a wrong decision, especially with regard to the data center and the expense it costs to operate one. We want to, again, have that lowest total cost of ownership possible. And just to give an example from a containment project, when we look at them, when you finish a project, you don't want to have a company that finishes and simply walks away. You want a company that has insight or willing to educate you on what you need to do to get energy rebates, a very fast return of investment. You want a company that's going to really work with you to get that cooling optimization, that temperature optimization, a company that's going to get you all those savings that you deserve and that you expect to get from that project. If a customer is looking to modernize and maximize efficiency in their data center, and if they don't know where to start, we always recommend starting with a CFD study. Find out what's going on in your data center. Find out where the cooling issues are. Find out where the overheating issues are. Find out what you can do to solve those problems. What's going to happen in that data center if rack densities increase, and they always increase? What's going to happen if cooling units fail? If one unit goes down, 2 units go down? Find out ahead of time in your data center. Next, what we recommend, take that information, take the findings from the CFD study, and again, make informed decisions. And something we want to stress with CFD studies, these shouldn't be long, drawn-out processes. They shouldn't be expensive design projects. Really, a CFD, and we offer CFD Pros and CFD Lights, it should give you an analysis of what's happening in your data center, and it should also tell you what's going to happen with containment versus if you don't have containment. That's what our CFD Lite shows our customers. In fact, many of our customers like just the CFD Lite. There's no site visit involved. They send us the information from a questionnaire. We take their data center and we say, here's your data center with no containment. Then we take that same report that we're working on, that same model, and we put in either hot aisle containment or cold aisle containment. And we show them, look, this is how much money you'll save after you put in containment. This is how high you'll be able to raise temperatures. This is how low you'll be able to run fan speeds in your data center in order to maximize efficiency. I've been doing a lot of research recently on the industry and the future of air cooling and liquid cooling in data centers, especially HPC data centers. In fact, we're going to have an upcoming white paper on that very same topic, the future of containment as air cooling finally reach its limits. You know, it's going to be of interest, this paper, very educational to anybody that's really wanting to see how is air cooling and liquid cooling going to coexist. Will they coexist? What's going to be the future of air cooling for the next 5, 10, 20 years in data centers? What about the total cost of ownership? So that's some of the research that I've been putting a lot of time into recently. You know, in my role with Subzero Engineering, I see some global markets ahead of other global markets. For example, some are actually lagging the US and Europe by 10 years, 15 years in terms of energy efficiency. So what we're doing at Subzero, we have the goal of increasing efficiency globally with our containment and also education. What we do really on a weekly basis, we want people to understand the benefits of containment, the benefits of raising temperatures as high as possible in the data centers. So we hold seminars on a weekly basis with different regions in Africa, South America, Asia, all these different places to try to educate people so we can get greener, more sustainable, and also have an energy efficient data center no matter where it is in the world. If I was to give advice of what it's going to be like to work on a project with Subzero Engineering, I guess first and foremost, you're going to have a great customer experience from beginning to end. We're going to do things for you, with you, that we promise no other containment company is going to do. And that includes, do you need a model of your data center? Do you need to see what it's going to look like after the project's finished? We'll be there. We'll do that CFD model for you. When we're done, you're going to be a believer in containment. You're going to really see how with energy efficiency, airflow optimization, and that temperature optimization in the data center, you're going to have a quick return of investment, maybe 10 to 14 months. You'll save up to 25% on your annual energy bill. And really, these aren't numbers that I or Subzero likes to throw out indiscriminately. We want to work closely with you. We want you to understand how you can maximize your savings in your data center anytime you deploy a Subzero containment system. You know, the future for Subzero and the US data center market, it's thrilling, it's exciting. Data center growth is continually growing exponentially. Everyone, though, wants the same thing. They want to save money, they want an energy efficient data center, they want it to be green, and they want it to be sustainable. The best way to achieve that is it starts with containment. And here's why. I like to take a saying from the CEO of Google. He says the best energy saved is the energy you're not consuming in the first place. And that's true of containment. And the reason is containment, instead of using energy, containment saves energy in the data center. I can almost leave you with this last thought. A well-designed and well-implemented data center containment system is and will always be and continue to be an essential element to support data center efficiency and sustainability in the next 10 to 20 years.